Hey guys, welcome back to Food for Men. This week's episode, we're going to introduce my new grill. Now, I have a kettle, 22-inch Weber. I also have a Traeger Junior that I've done some modifications to. It came from Costco, so it had the little cheap 3-position time temperature controls. I added the the newer ones. I've added the front shelf and things. But my go-to lately has been my Weber 22-inch. I've been a Weber homer 35 years. This is my third 22-inch kettle that I've had. I've had it now for 11 years. And I think I actually learned to cook as a kid on a Weber kettle. In fact, I remember some very specific instructions from my father that thought he was doing no harm, and gave me some very specific instructions that made a great deal of sense. Well, I've now checked with 3 different people at Weber and found out it's all folklore and they never heard of such a thing. I was taught with the Weber kettle, because the bottom vents are in very specific locations for efficiency, that the top vent was also very important for its location. So I was always taught to put the top vent facing over the third leg, the front leg, and then point the leg into the wind. For 40 years, I thought that sounded like a really good idea and made perfect sense. And I thought there had to really be some science behind it, only to find out there's no truth to it. So, and I tell you what, if any of you guys ever heard anything like that before, leave a comment down below in the comments and let me hear about it. So, my new grill of choice. And this is something that I've had on the horizon for a long time. I've thought about it. I've had like 4 different grills in my, what do you want to call it, my wish list, right? And I thought about an offset smoker. I would love to have a Lone Star offset smoker. Maybe a bigger pellet grill, maybe a Weber Smoky Mountain, maybe a pit barrel cooker. No, I told you, pay attention. I'm a Weber homer. I got what I think, when properly equipped, could be the perfect grill. I have the new 26-inch Weber kettle. Now, listen, hear me out. I think if somebody's looking to step up into seriously getting into barbecuing, smoking, grilling, when properly equipped, I think 26-inch kettle could do just about anything. I think you can do things that you can do on a pellet grill as far as long and slow. I think you could do things to get a nice wood smoky flavor like a offset smoker, and also long and slow without the maintenance of having to keep tendering to the fire like you do it with a on offset smoker. So with that said, I think the only thing this thing's missing would be a slow and sear by Adrenaline Barbecue. Now, I've looked at it. The Weber cost me $300. The ABC Slow and Sear Trifecta, which is the Slow and Sear XL, the griddle pan, and the Easy Spin grate, is $325. And I thought that, I couldn't justify the price. And I'm thinking, when you can buy the entire kettle for less than that, and then a couple of accessories, really put it kind of, now we're talking about a $625 investment. And then I started thinking about it. For $625, you can do anything with the 26-inch Weber. It has a lot of capacity. I've figured it out that the capacity on the 26-inch is 30% larger as far as grill area than the 22-inch. I also like it because it's taller. The Slow and Sear will hold enough fuel to, a lot of times last at least 8 hours. So if you're doing a pulled pork, a big pork shoulder or something like that, or a brisket, a lot of times you can get the entire cook done and never having to add fuel. With the water, a little galley there, it adds moisture. So again, you don't, keep those long cooks from drying out. Also, when you're time to sear, you can get that thing easily over 500 degrees. Unless you need to feed, make like 8 briskets at once or something like that, and you're gonna need to get like a really big offset. I think a 26-inch would do just about anything you could ever want it to do. So with that said, let me introduce you to the newest member of the family. There we go. We'll call them Big and Little. So it's a pretty substantial difference. I also love the difference in the height. That the 26 is taller. The grill height is taller. Taller dome height. I'm challenging this 26-inch to see if there's anything I can't ask it to do. So this will be fun. This will be kind of the focus for the next few videos as we break this thing in. Like I said, it's actually 30% more surface area. So tonight we're going to christen it. We're going to do 5 ribeyes on here. First indirect, bring them up to temperature. And then we're going to go ahead and take the grill off. Add more coals. Try to get it up at about 500 degrees. And then just sear and try to get them all done about 135 degrees. So our fuel of choice tonight will just be good old Kingsford Blue Label. Just regular charcoal. Again, we're going to start with indirect heat. You already got the fire going in the coals. And then, because we are so close to Santa Maria, and we do so much in Santa Maria style, that we're going to use Suzy Q Santa Maria seasoning as a rub on the ribeyes, just lightly, because we still want to be able to taste the meat. And then we're going to fortify the charcoal with chunks of oak. I get this in my local grocery store, believe it or not, because Santa Maria style is such a big deal to us and part of our culture and our lifestyle here. And what I love about this is it's chunks of oak. It's not little wood chips, but yeah, it's also not these huge logs that I have to try to contend with. These things always work great on the Weber, and I'm looking forward to it. Now I'm going to go on in as these coals are getting going. I'm going to start my side dishes, which today will be a green bean casserole. And also I'm going to show you something special that I've done to the steaks. So stay tuned. So this is what I wanted to show you. These are USDA Choice. They came from the same grocery store, bought on the same day. But the steak on the right, I dry-brined for just over 24 hours. You can see the difference in color, the redness. My thought was, well, if we couldn't find a USDA prime, let's see if we can cheat and make a choice taste the best it could. So we're going to do this now, and we're going to cover all the steaks with some Suzy Q Santa Maria style seasoning. So there we go. So there we go with the seasoning on here, just a light rub. I want to be able to still taste the beef. I don't want to just taste just the rub. So we're using a Suzy Q. You might have seen this before on other cooking channels. Suzy Q seasoning is kind of the standard here in the Santa Maria area for Santa Maria style tri-tip and others, and it works perfect on basically anything beef. I promise you, you will not be disappointed if you try this. And I know it's also available at Amazon. Well, believe it or not, this is actually the first time I've ever used the Weber charcoal baskets. Note to self, all you need is one chimney full of coals to fill both of them up. Yeah, got a little overzealous here. But you can see we've got the oak in there. Got plenty of room for the indirect. And we're just going to choke those flames down a little bit and bring them up nice and slow. Okay, so these have been cooking now for about 20 minutes at 350 degrees. Just probed them, and most of them are right about 80 degrees internally. Also, I wanted to let you know that, well, I'm the one in the family that likes his meat a little bit rare. So the ribeye that was dry-brined went on about 8 minutes after the other ones did. But it's time to flip them all over now. So there we go. We flipped them all over. Now we're going to leave them here, covered up again. Bring it back up to about 350 degrees until the internal temperature of the steaks is right about 120. And then we're going to take them off and get the grill ready to sear them. So there we are, doing a quick sear. Gotta be careful because there is some sugar in our Suzy Q seasoning, which doesn't bother me. It will make a nice caramelization on here, but I also want to make sure we don't get to the point that it burns. So this is the steak that was dry brined. So this will be my steak. And you see the sear marks and everything. It's got a nice good sear all over. You see there was a little bit of the sugar burning on the ends there. Doesn't bother me one bit. Now let's cut inside and see how this baby looks. Okay, here we go. Note to self. It's a little bit too done for my taste. Still see the pink. So I would call this closer to medium than medium rare. Still completely edible. And I think we're going to have a nice dinner tonight. Green bean casserole's done. It's time to eat. All right, guys. I have to tell you, that was the best steak I ever had in my entire life. And I made it at home, and it was just USDA Choice. I am now the biggest fan of dry brining. I can't wait to try on everything. I want to try it on tri-tip. I mean, these steaks are amazing. This steak was so juicy, so much flavor, and I compared it to the other steaks. They're all cooked at the same time, and it was night and day difference. If you're not dry brining your steaks, then why are you even barbecuing? You got to try this. One mistake I made is I seem to remember now that most guys rinse off any excess on the outside, and I didn't. And it was there, and I think my cardiologist would probably prefer I didn't do this, but if he tried, he'd be a fan too. That's my prescription to my Dr. Kinkle. You got to try dry brining. So anyways, it was so juicy. It was so tender. It was literally the best steak I ever had in my life, and I made it at home. We are surrounded here in the Santa Maria area by some fantastic steak houses, and this was easily a $50 steak. And I can't imagine why I'd ever eat out again. You guys got to try it. Remember, what I used was some crushed sea salt on both sides, and I dry brined it in the refrigerator, which means uncovered and everything. It was right about 28 hours. You got to try it, guys. I give it my highest recommendation. I'm ruined for life now. Well, until next time, remember to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and ring my bell. Let's be good to each other.